So the next piece of information that we have here, images, leaks, all kinds of stuff that comes from what seems like China-based websites on Weibo. Um, Power of the Primes, Transformers. Two more that we're going to talk about here, and I'm going to try to again pair a lot of these off. Let's talk about the Fembots. We'll talk about Elita-1 and Moonracer, more specifically a Voyager class Elita-1 that turns into a what looks like some kind of jet,
Yeah.
and a deluxe class Moonracer that turns into some kind of vehicle.
Like some futuristic looking sports car, I think.
Yeah, and I just want to touch on a lot of different things that that we started to learn recently. One thing that I want to mention with Alita is we got to look at her package art and her card art, which looks really good, by the way. I'm still very conflicted about the choice of the alt mode and how it makes the final silhouette of the robot mode. But at least the card art, which was, usually it's always done by Marcelo,
Hmm.
so it's probably done by Marcelo still. Marcelo did a great job with the card art. It still kind of looks like if you would have put Starscream's head on this body, I'd believe it. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Which one
But
for Elita One
for
or?
Alita 1, yeah.
Mm.
But the one thing that was interesting is we have a picture now of the back of the card art and stuff. And I never made this connection before, but they link Alita 1 with Vector Prime, and they mention, on the back of it, it says freezes and accelerates time without draining her energy. That's really cool because the original Alita 1, that was kind of one of her secret powers that she had, where
Mm.
she was able to stop time temporarily, but it would really mess her up.
Mm.
And Vector Prime in the Transformers Galaxy Force Cybertron series was the same thing, where he could actually stop time and go back in time and literally change time itself if needed, but it's at the risk of practically killing himself.
Ah.
And he had to do that. I don't want to spoil. People should really go and watch Galaxy Force. It's one of the better Transformer series, specifically the Japanese version of Cybertron. But it's the same thing where it's something went down, and they're like, "Oh my God, we're screwed." And he's like, "No, I could go back in time and we could fix this." And and again, it's something that he could do at the risk of dying practically. So it's really cool that they link those two characters together because they have quite a similar kind of,
Similar kind of move set going
yeah, like a
on.
moveset, and I've never made that connection before. I was like, oh, that's kind of cool because she's gonna come with the Vector Prime, uh, uh, whatever you call it, Titan Master or Prime Master in this case, I believe. So
Right.
that's really cool that, and again, that they tie it to her. They put what's also interesting with this Elita One card is it shows what the other 13 Prime Master logos look like.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't really know who goes with who yet, although I'm pretty sure I could figure it out if I took some time because each one of these Prime Master logos has Ancient Autobot Cybertronian written next to it,
Hmm.
which I can translate because I have a translation guide. So I could actually probably sit down and figure this out. Maybe I will
If
put
you
it on.
can maybe find a better image of it,
Oh
that's
yeah,
like bigger and better
totally.
quality.
I think that, well, that's something I'm totally going to do. I'm probably going to sit down and I'll post it on Twitter or something in the future when I got the time. And we kind of already know a few of these already, but
Well, so yeah, some of the images they match what the crests are that we talked about
yeah, like
before.
when we talked about Alpha Trion with the one that looked like all the diamonds and stuff. So,
Yeah, exactly.
and I could already see Alpha Trion there. Like I could already see there's the letters that kind of match for A because I know I recently translated some ancient Cybertronian for a Sea Spray figure that came out. Sea Spray's figure came out for Titan's Returns, and he has Alana written on the inside of his wrist. I know, kind of weird, but which was his
Really.
girlfriend in the G1 cartoon. So
So like, so he wrote it in ancient Cybertron. It's like a tattoo or something.
yeah, it's like a tattoo or something. It's weird. I don't know how to. It's on my Twitter. If people just go through my feed in the back, I tweeted about it very recently as of this recording because I was just like, oh, that's pretty fascinating because I saw it and I was like, what's this scribble here that's on the inside of his wrist? I thought it was just like a trademark, but they put it on the inside of the forearm.
Hmm.
And then I was like, wait a minute, no, that's ancient Cybertronian. So then I pulled up the translation guide and I was like, oh wait, this spells something. And I was like, Alana, oh my God, his girlfriend from from the Sea Spray episode of season 2. So like I was like,
Uh,
wow, okay, cool. Anyways, that's something that I just wanted to kind of point out when it comes to that because that's really cool. Another thing that was also interesting that with certain images that started to surface too was there was this one image that shows Alita in her combiner torso mode because she's obviously a centerpiece with Moonracer attached to her. And it almost makes me want to speculate maybe they're making a Fembot combiner team coming up. Not too similar to like what they did with Victorion not too long ago.
right.
Like maybe we might get
With characters we kind of already know,
yeah.
or
I'm
not recently made characters, I
well.
guess.
I'm thinking because Alita kind of had her own little team back in the day. Alita was the leader. Then you have Chromia here, Moonracer, and then there's Firestar, and then the
Hmm.
last one could be maybe RC.
Yeah,
Maybe
there you
because
go.
and like that's why like I really think that they're probably gonna
And you said that I think they said that they're going to re-release RC, right?
yeah, but
The
RC currently isn't a combiner.
okay.
I mean the thing
That cup isn't a combiner.
yeah, and the thing is that Moonracer has that traditional combiner port piece.
Right on the front.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure
That's going
uh,
to be a repaint down the
they'll
line.
probably down the line maybe give us maybe from that same mold there give us RC. I don't know. Maybe they'll do something with a motorcycle and give us another a combining Chromia again. I mean, the last Chromia toy we got was maybe I think 2 years ago. I mean, at this point, I don't like. It used to be, oh, we just got a figure. Why would they do another one? They seem to
They
throw.
might throw a curveball and use like the jazz mold, and that
Yeah,
would be RC or something.
well, it's a possibility. Well, and you know what? And we say the jazz mold, but with obviously heavy retooling. You know,
Mhm.
in the same way that Titan Returns RC. I mean, that was brainstorm.
Well, remember, I think it was like when we had all the revealed the shield stuff, and we thought I think Wheeljack was going to be a retool. No, we thought the Jazz was going to be retooled into Wheeljack,
Yeah, and that didn't happen.
and then they went with tracks instead.
Yeah, exactly. Totally,
They
one hundred
just went
percent.
left field completely on that.
But that's why. So like, and I mean, the fact that they put Moonracer with her, I could totally get behind that. Getting like Elita-1 Special Forces team
Mm,
that she had in season 2 in the Search for Alpha Trion. Go back and watch that episode, people, if you want to kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about. Um, but I really dig it. And what's also cool, they show with this combiner mode, it shows that the cockpit of her jet opens up, and that's where the Prime Master will attach.
right.
So it gives you an idea of where that goes. But it's really cool. And I kind of now I'm kind of like going, oh, maybe we'll finally get a proper Firestar figure because we never really got a proper one. We always got kind of like repaints of other stuff with her name tacked on as Flare
Hmm.
Up. Because they obviously they couldn't call her Firestar for Marvel reasons.
Right.
But I mean, I think it's really cool. I think the one complaint I have is, and I swear every time I look at the Inferno, which is like her wave mate, if you will,
Okay.
I keep going like, man, I almost feel like they could have made Alita from the Inferno mold because they
Really.
they, they did Megatronia, which was this evil female Megatron toy in Japan,
Right.
with the Inferno mold, and it looked
Ah.
and it looked pretty good as a female character. So you could have taken that Inferno mold again, or that hotspot mold, if you want to call it, whatever, that fire truck,
Hmm.
and you could have again retooled a little bit, maybe get rid of the fire truck part, to make Alita more of just like a maybe a flatbed or something,
Yeah.
because she
Yeah.
she kind of was like a not truck kind of thing in G1, and that's why I'm still confused by the whole choice of using a jet. And you could have made that Alita 1 because I'm really not feeling the jet mode, the final silhouette of the actual toy.
Yeah.
The combined mode looks very bulky and weird, but I think the primary reason why they didn't go uh, with that Inferno mold ultimately in the end is because it doesn't house a Prime Master gimmick,
Right.
where this one does. So I think
Okay.
that's the ultimate reason in the end why they didn't go that route is because they want to continue this Prime Master gimmick, and the Inferno toy doesn't house the Inferno hotspot, whatever you want to call it, doesn't house that, the Megatronia. So either way, I think that's really cool. I kind of hope that they're going to do like that Elita-1 combiner team in full. But that's all I really feel about that. Wendell, anything you want to add to it?
The Moonracer's a new mold, right? A
Yes,
new. Okay.
it's a brand new sculpt. Looks really good.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely does. I like the sveltness of it, and I do like it. I like that it looks like a more Cybertronian in design than it does an Earth design for the vehicle mode.
Well, and,
S
and considering
so
all
it doesn't look like someone could be in the cockpit. That's what I'm digging about it.
and all of them were more or less just Cybertronian characters. I mean, the funny thing is Elita-1's team. This is before like the movie in season three, where a whole bunch of designs just ended up being Cybertronian in nature because it was the future. Like
Right?
you look at Hot Rod and RC and Blur, and you just go, oh, maybe they're future cars, maybe they're Cybertronian cars. Like
Yeah,
they
exactly.
they're just these non-brands. But before your season three and G1 season and the G1 the movie came out, these girls were in season two, and they already were sporting this weird kind of designs. And what I like about the Moonracer specifically is she looks like they made a pretty good try at doing something like her original Fleero Deary alt mode, because
Mm,
she did turn into some kind of not car. You
yeah.
know what I mean? So because she turns into some kind of not car, that's really good. Where, I mean, as much as I like, let's say the Chromia toy that they made not too long ago,
Hmm.
the Chromia toy turns into kind of a motorcycle, which Chromia didn't turn into. Chromia
Right.
turned into also some kind of not car with a big spoiler and everything.
Hmm.
And so I was like, oh, that's kind of sucks that they still couldn't. And same thing, like Elita-1. Elita-1, you look at her alt mode, she's some kind of, not car, not truck kind of thing.
Right.
So,
Right. Right.
I mean, and same thing, like when we're gonna get Firestar. That's another one. If we ever do get her, she's also one of these, like she's like a truck, like she's like a truck flatbed kind of thing.
So
So
kind
I'm
of like a cup or something like that, I
Yeah, well,
guess.
yeah, well, I could see, yeah, cup would be great, but something. But again, if they're gonna do something that's a combiner, I don't think they'll use the cup mold.
Yeah, but
Um,
I mean, like when you look at Cup in the
oh yeah, like yeah,
show,
the design
his
itself,
alt
yeah,
mode in the
totally.
show is the design. It's like an El Camino, but it's still kind of flatbedish.
Well, it's kind of funny actually when you mention it. It's like in a lot of ways, if the cup mold was a little more feminine in shape, it almost would work very well for
Mm.
that Firestar. I mean, again, the
Because
listeners can decide. I would suggest go on like the TF Wiki or Google Images, pull up those characters I mentioned: Chromia, Firestar, Moonracer, Elita-1. Those original female Autobots from Search of Alpha Trion season two. And I mean, you'll see those original Fleero Deary designs, and within that, you'll also see their original Fleero Deary alt modes from season one and season two of G1, 84, 85, and you'll see what I'm kind of getting at. And I mean, so far the Chrome, excuse me, the Moonracer does a really good job. The
Like,
Moonracer, that's a really good attempt at the G1 design and the Fleero Deary design.
yeah.
So that I'm really behind.
One thing I'm also behind is that even in the robot mode with the additional piece on her, like it doesn't look too off and awkward. You
It's
know,
it's there.
it's there, but I feel like you still got some arm movement in there. It doesn't look that bad and bulky comparatively to the other ones you see in these images here.
Yeah, to me especially, what I just look at it as an extra play value.
Yeah.
I mean, I like is it because it's something that doesn't, it's not permanent. It's something that's an option, and
Hmm.
it doesn't affect the figure too much. Um, Especially considering that some of the other Prime Masters that have that gimmick, they have this big gaping hole right in the center of their chest when
Yeah,
when it's not
exactly.
plugged in, and it's very obvious. Where with her, it's not so much an obvious thing. It's
Yeah,
not a
you could put it on, you could remove it. I think some other ones you could put it on their arm, and so it's not that bad.
Yeah,
But
I'm really digging it. I like
yeah,
the
me
the
too.
moon, the Moon Racer, especially. Again, that Alita. I there's better options.
Hmm.
Again, I understand why they went with a new mold to have that Prime Master gimmick, but I mean personally, if I had a choice between it, I would have put it on that Inferno, because Megatronia came out so good as a female character on that hotspot mold. So, but yeah, I dig it.